Hi, and welcome to the Fitness Doctor on ESPN 730, the program where we address your exercise, nutrition, and overall health needs. My name is Aaron Cannady, and now an exercise physiologist in the School of Sports Sciences at Wingate University, the Fitness Doctor, John Acquaviva.
He drew the "the" out even longer than last week. I love it. Aaron, thank you very much. Folks, 67% of our country's adults are obese or at least overweight, and we know that nutrition plays a major role in that statistic. Consumers instinctively know that what we eat is important, so today we're going to place an emphasis not just on nutrition, but what we should avoid eating. Aaron, what's in store for us today?
This segment's rundown includes in-studio guest Jennifer Brunelli, the quick Q&A with Dr. A, social media breakdown, and fitness nuts in the news.
All right, let's get to it. My special guest today, once again, is Jennifer Brunelli, registered dietitian, a former 7-time All-American in swimming at University of South Carolina. She is the owner of Sports RD Pro, and among other consulting jobs, is the sports nutritionist for the Carolina Panthers. Jennifer, thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me.
Are you tired of being on the show yet?
No, it's getting fun.
I like it. It's just getting fun.
It's just because I'm winning.
Folks, we'll talk about the winning comment here in a minute. But by the way, she's not winning.
I'm not competitive at all.
All right, a little more on our topic of the day. We will be discussing specific foods that we should make earnest attempts to avoid or at least eat infrequently. And how we're going to do this is Jennifer and I are going to go back and forth. Each will provide a food and a reasoning why that should be not part of our meal plan. Before we move on, this portion of the Fitness Doctor is brought to you by Levita Massage. Levita therapists are professionals who've been uniquely selected for their expertise in both the science and art of massage. Locations at the Promenade in Ballantyne. Discover the life at Levita. Okay, Aaron, before we move on, give us the social media breakdown.
Yes, sir. If you have a question regarding bad foods or like to request a future topic, follow us on Twitter at the Twitter handle Woo Fitness Doctor, or like our page on Facebook at Woo Fitness Doctor, WU Fitness Doctor, or you can shoot us an email at woofitnessdoctor@wingate.edu. Oh,
I like it.
and now a segment called a quick Q&A with Dr. A. This is where I shoot a couple questions to the doc to get us started on the day's conversation. Doc, are you ready?
I am ready.
Question number 1. What qualifies a food as being bad?
I think there's a couple things, but one is that it's low in the nutrients that we need. Vitamins and minerals, I think, is probably right at the top. It contains very little, if any. Fiber is another thing that would consider as bad. And in another food that would be considered bad is something that has what is called hydrogenated fats, or fats that are processed. And we'll probably talk about that a little more in the show. But those are 3 good reasons: lack of vitamins and minerals, low fiber, and high in hydrogenated oils.
Question number 2. Do all bad foods have to be high in fat?
No, in fact, my number one food on my list has nothing to do with fat. There's no fat in it. So the answer is definitely no. Foods do not have to be high in fat to be bad.
Question number 3. Is the list of bad foods universal?
I think most of them are. I think ultimately between Jennifer's and I's conversation today, that this should be the list on the internet. It's probably going to shoot, it's going to go crazy. It's going to go viral probably as a result of our discussion. But I think for the most part, the list of bad foods is somewhat of a universal thing, especially if the people are professionals, they're well-degreed, and they have good experience in the field.
All right, that's the quick Q&A of the day. Now, back to the doc.
All right, Jennifer Brunelli is here with us. She is the registered dietitian and a consultant to the Carolina Panthers. So what we're going to do is talk all things nutrition, but in particular, we're going to follow up from our discussion a couple weeks ago where we did a list of good foods, and we went back and forth. I went first, and then I gave a food, and I said why it was good, and then Jennifer did the same thing, and then went back and forth for a couple minutes until our producer said show's over. And during that time, we kept score. And somehow I won that contest. In other words, I came up with better foods on the list than Jennifer. So we'll do it again this time. Aaron, you ready to keep score?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll start it.
I'm ready for Aaron to keep score this time.
Yeah, I'm more of a reliable scorer.
Let me make this clear. I am the fitness doctor and the official scorekeeper on the fitness doctor. That's right. All right. Number 1, Jennifer, on my list of bad foods is soda. And the reason is this. I feel almost embarrassed that I have to say this. I think everybody knows this, but I will just for effect. It's extremely high in sugar. It causes what's known as the insulin effect. Blood rushes into our veins, and it harms our body's ability to burn fat, causes inflammation, causing things possibly like coronary artery disease and so forth. There's virtually no vitamins and minerals in soda. And the big thing is we just drink too much of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, linked to asthma, linked to preterm labor, linked to heart disease. There's so many things that it's linked to, but we have to bring up another one. I'll put you on the spot.
Let's hear it.
What about the diet sodas?
Yeah. Well, that could actually be, we should have a show just about diet soda as well, right? Because people think it's a healthy or good alternative, and if anything, it's neutral. But I would argue that it's bad, right? It's
Well,
a bad food.
When do I get to do my list?
All right. Even before Jennifer goes, the score is 1-0. All right, Jennifer, what's first on your list?
All right, so I'm going to come back at you then, and I'll
Go ahead.
say the artificial sweeteners. Because what about
Okay.
the flip side of the sodas
Yeah.
and these 0-calorie type drinks and the diet sodas that people are drinking?
Yeah.
We think, oh, we're doing a great job, right? I'm drinking something with 0 calories, so I'm controlling my overall intake. But what I ask people that come in and literally tell me I'm drinking 30 sodas a day.
Yeah.
Literally, John, these people are doing
You've had,
this.
I think we talked about this on a previous
We
program.
did.
30.
30 a day.
These are diet folks, or these are regular soda?
Diet. Because they think, no big deal.
They have to be awake for a long time.
Oh my goodness gracious. And you know that they're like, oh, well, it has 0 energy. So I say, well, why are you all of a sudden feeling better?
Yeah.
Why is that? I think a big part of it is mental.
What do you mean they're feeling better?
Well, they think that they feel energized,
Oh, yeah.
right? So
Well, it's an addiction, I
why?
think, right?
Exactly.
I really think and that's why they're feeling better.
Exactly, and a lot of those ones that you want to avoid have something called aspartame in them.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that's kind of one of the big ones. The other thing that you want to realize with some of these is they actually increase your appetite,
Yeah.
increase your desire for carbohydrate,
Yeah.
do things like stimulate fat storage. So not only are they not offering you any fuel that you're mentally thinking you feel better even though you don't,
Yep.
they're actually altering how you might eat later on in the day.
Yep. Now, let me ask this. Okay, other than diet soda, what other products would you find artificial sweeteners in?
You know, one of the biggest ones that I end up with people is coffee creamers.
Oh, is that right?
That's a huge one.
When it said, interesting.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
Okay.
The coffee creamers have a lot of artificial sweeteners.
And we know people like coffee.
Oh my goodness.
So right after they have their Diet Coke, they have some coffee.
They have both in the morning, get themselves
That's right,
going.
that's right.
Or they
What-
skip the meal.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And that's how they feel like they're justified doing that. And they're like, ultimately, I'm being pretty healthy.
But to our listeners out there, so many of the same people that are nodding their head while they're driving saying, yeah, that's exactly what I do. On the flip side of that, are you struggling to lose weight? Because if the answer is yes, that's part
You
of
need
the
to take
problem.
a look at it. What other products would have artificial sweeteners in them?
Anything that says, to make it easy, anything that says 0 calorie or low calorie,
Yeah.
be suspicious.
And even if it's not sweet, right? Because that's one of the things is that, like for instance, breads, we don't consider breads a sweet, we don't consider it a dessert of any sort, but it does have a touch of sugar in it. And if it says no calories in it, that means the flavoring has to come from somewhere, and offering that flavoring comes from artificial sweeteners.
Yes, you
All right.
can look on the back and see it.
I think
That
that's
was
a point and a half
no,
for Jennifer.
no, you can't earn more than a point. She got a half a point. So far it's 1 to a half a point. Are you ready for the next one? You go first on the next
Oh, you want me to go again?
Yeah.
Okay. How about processed meats?
Okay, give us example of
So
processed meats.
salami,
Yeah.
sliced roast beef, hot dogs, things like that. And did you not grow up eating hot dogs? I know
did.
it's so sad.
I did.
When you go to the ballpark, the new
Yeah.
stadium, don't you want to go have a hot
My
dog?
favorite
Yeah.
meal is hot
Yeah.
dogs and baked beans.
Is that
Oh.
true?
Beanies and weenies.
Is that right?
It's my favorite meal.
Beanies
So.
and weenies.
Well,
I like
and
that.
you know what? Let's flip side. Let's go to the flip side. What's the alternative? What can you do? Because we're talking about things you have to avoid.
Yeah.
But what can we do? Because I grew up wanting hot dogs. I have a 10-year-old. I'd like her to be normal
Yeah.
and be able to eat with everybody else.
Yeah.
So what about doing just a regular burger or having something like chicken sausage? You know, there are alternatives to
Yeah.
these things. We're talking about things to avoid.
Yeah.
But let's stay on the side of, okay, these are things we should avoid, sure, but then what?
Okay, let me ask you this then. Why? Because I have to admit, number 2 was, for me, was hot dogs, which goes right in this category. But why? Well, why
So-
should we avoid it?
Yeah, so last week you guys talked about cholesterol, right? So
Yep.
a lot of these things coming from animal proteins that would in turn affect cholesterol
Yep.
negatively, probably.
Yeah.
A lot of these kind of products that are coming from these kind of animals are not coming from your grass-fed meats or not coming from your high-quality animal proteins.
Yeah.
You know, they're coming from these animals that are packed into a small space, that are being fed God knows what, that are being pumped with growth hormones,
Yeah.
antibiotics. So these are things that we want to avoid.
Yeah.
You know, we know nitrates that are in these products are cancer-causing.
That's right. It's considered a carcinogen, right?
Exactly.
It's literally categorized as a carcinogen, which is a cancer-causing agent.
Exactly. So, I mean, and that's just one of the cancer-causing
Yeah,
agents
yeah.
that's in these products.
Well, one of the other things I thought you were going to mention, which I thought is at the top of the list, which is virtually the same product, is bologna. I want to see bologna and hot dogs are virtually, but they're just in different shapes.
To be honest, I don't even think about it anymore because I'm hopeful that we're starting to just completely cut things like that out.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're absolutely right.
It's funny because every once in a while I'll see bologna on a table, or if I go to, and I go, oh, they still sell that? Yeah, it's crazy. All right, folks, if you're just joining us, you're listening to The Fitness Doctor on ESPN 730. We're talking about foods that you should avoid, or as Jennifer and I call it, just simply bad foods. Jennifer Brunelli is with us in studio, as she has been every other week for the past couple of months. Aaron, what's up next?
This segment is called Fitness Nut in the News. It's where we find a person or a thing or a story that's nutty or wacky in the world of fitness and nutrition.
Okay.
So this week I have Michael Phelps. Yeah, Olympic swimmer, 22.
Jennifer's
Olympic medals.
Well, Jennifer's smiling, but I think she's nervous as well because that's her choice of exercise. Or at least it used to be. So why
he's
Phelps?
been quoted as saying he eats around 8,000 to 10,000 calories a day.
That's right.
And I was doing some research, and experts say it's pretty much impossible. You have to eat like all day to get around 8,000 calories. So they think he eats around 6,000 a day. But he says he eats a lot of pizza and salad along with fried eggs. And experts say that he probably has supplemented his meal with specially formulated energy drinks to add calories to his meal. But the nutty thing is he burns about 3,000 calories a day swimming.
Just with swimming.
Just swimming. Now, I get on the treadmill. I've burned about maybe 200 calories.
Yeah.
Now, 3,000 calories. That's
a lot.
Pretty
well, to be honest, I work clearly with a lot of swimmers, just having been in my background. 3,000 is probably low for some of these bigger guys with a lot of lean mass.
Some of the workouts are twice per day, right? You guys used to do that all the time at USC, right?
Most of them are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. What was it? The 04, 08 Olympic trials? There was that big to-do on the news about how much Michael Phelps ate, right? You know, in general, I think it's fair to say between about 6 and 7 is pretty common. 8 to 10 is getting up there. If they're doing that, it's probably through weight gainers, which 2 scoops, you can get like 1,200 calories. Yeah. So that's easy to bump it up in that way. Is that necessary, though? Unless they're in kind of a weight gain situation, then probably not over that 6 to 7 is necessary. Some of that gets inflated through the news. Yeah. It's marketing. Some of it makes it exciting. But it's certainly a huge amount of intake.
It's got to be exhausting. It really does have to be exhausting to take in anything over 3,000 or 4,000 calories, and he's maybe taking in double that.
Yeah, I mean, it's eat, sleep, swim, eat, sleep, swim.
Well, he is a fitness nut. I think actually all swimmers are. And I mean this, having been a college professor now for close to 20 years, having seen the practice sessions, the game preparation for all athletes, the ones that I respect and awe the most are swimmers. You guys swim. It's amazing how much time, effort, and energy is burned.
It is. It's hours and hours on end. And you know, speaking of ESPN magazine, there's that body issue coming out. He's on the cover of it.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, he's back.
Okay. And eating a slice of pizza.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, folks, if I'm going to do this session, I got to take in In fact, actually, that's one way he could really take in a lot of calories, couldn't he? Eating pizza.
That's the way he was doing it, and that's the way they were talking about it. Since then, he has altered his intake significantly to maintain as he ages for sport.
We'll continue on with this conversation on bad foods right after this message from Wingate University. This is The Fitness Doctor.
Your extraordinary future begins at Wingate University with more than 35 undergraduate majors and graduate and professional programs in the health sciences, business, and education. Wingate University's enrollment has mushroomed and construction has skyrocketed in the past 2 decades. And Wingate is the 6th best value in the South, according to U.S. News and World Report. Most importantly, Wingate graduates get jobs. They're working all over the Carolinas and the U.S. Major in a great life at Wingate University.
Hi, and welcome back to The Fitness Doctor, the program where we address your exercise, nutrition, and overall health needs. I'm Dr. John Acquaviva, an exercise physiologist in the School of Sports Sciences at Wingate University. Aaron, what do we have for this segment?
This segment's rundown includes special in-studio guest Jennifer Brunelli, more on bad foods, the social media breakdown, and the takeaway.
Okay, let's get back to it. We're discussing foods that we feel we should avoid and the reasons for each. The first part of the show, we talked about soda, and Jennifer mentioned diet sodas, which contain fake sugars or fake sweeteners, and she mentioned a couple foods that are in that. She mentioned processed meats, and my second one actually was hot dogs. Even though Jennifer and I did not talk off air at all, it looks like the first two we mirrored each other. All right, Jennifer, what we're doing, just for those folks who are just joining us on this discussion on bad foods, I'm mentioning a food, saying why we should avoid it. You're mentioning a food, kind of countering, so to speak, and we're just trying to give the listener a bunch of things that they should not select when they go to the supermarket. And I mentioned, we mentioned soda, artificial sweeteners, processed foods. I was going to mention hot dogs, but that's right in the category of that. So I'll continue this discussion. French fries is the next one. And I'll start out with a fact. One of the reasons I came up with this is because I read, I cannot believe this still. It'd be interesting to get your insight on this. But the average American adult consumes 4 servings of French fries per week. Let me ask you, sir, do you believe that?
That's probably pretty par for the course, yeah.
You think that's true?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's talk about why. Okay, it's high in calories. In fact, a large thing of French fries could have as much as like 750 calories. That's a lot, folks, because if your caloric burn is 2,000 in a day, that's 1/3 right there, in just a portion of your meal. Virtually no nutrients in French fries, and they're often cooked in what are called hydrogenated oils, where there's these fake oils that increase the amount of bad fat, basically, in the French fry. And the consumption, that if this is something that we did every once in a while, but this is pretty amazing and fascinating that this stat came out that said 4 servings per week, the average adult. Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm like most people. I like a French fry as much as anybody, but I can't even think about doing it more than once every couple
4 times
weeks.
a week. Yeah. Well, and what are you going to have with it? I got to get some honey mustard, right?
Or no, I thought you were going to say a hamburger or something else that, right?
Well, that as well, but just the fries on their own.
Yeah.
I want some honey mustard or some sugary ketchup to dip in it. Well, and I think you made a great point of the 4 times a week. People ask you all the time. They ask me all the time. They probably ask you as well. Do you eat them at all? Of course I do. Of course I do. Give me a break. I'm a normal person. I'm going to have to go through Chick-fil-A once in a while.
That's right.
You just got to do it.
Yeah.
But how often are you having them? And to your point about how they're made, more often than not, if I'm craving a fry, let's go to the store, get some potatoes, get some sweet potatoes, cut them up, put them in the oven with a little olive oil, salt, and pepper on top.
Absolutely.
And get your honey mustard out.
Absolutely. And it's just as delicious, and it serves that craving that you have for it. But it's just, I hesitate to say that it's a healthy choice, but it's a better choice than the fries from the store.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you have to have them, let's figure out how to have them in the best possible way.
All right, Aaron, you can tell by the smile on Jennifer's face that she really likes that one, so I get yes another
so
point.
He gets a point.
So how did you
She gets a point.
Well, she loved it because she liked the one on my list so much. Jennifer, what's next on your list?
All right, I'm going to do the low-fat craze, margarine.
Oh, that was going to be, okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So when did it come about? The low-fat craze, right? So it was how do we cut calories? How do we cut fat?
Yeah.
So it came about with margarine. The problem is that it typically includes things like trans fats, preservatives, things like free radicals and emulsifiers to make it the shape that it is and hold it together, right? Yeah. So what did we do? We cut out butter. And because of that, butter actually has something called, ready for a big word that nobody cares about, conjugated linoleic acid, which nobody cares about. But it fights cancer.
Oh, is that right?
Yet, let's put in this margarine that has things in it that might promote the cancer. So it
say
just
that
doesn't
word
make
again,
it
by the way.
Conjugated linoleic acids. Just say CLA.
Jennifer,
or let's not say it at all.
A couple weeks ago when we were talking about cabbage for the good foods, what was the big word they used there?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember.
Remember
what were we talking about back then?
Cabbage
a couple
and
weeks
a bunch
ago.
of leafy type vegetables that you said.
Oh, you're gonna make my mommy brain. Oh my goodness, my mommy brain's gonna come. I know what you're talking. It's gonna come to me in a minute.
Yeah, you can.
All you moms out there, you know what I'm talking about.
Okay, let me ask you this about margarine. Okay, let's face it. It's a normal part of our diet, either margarine or butter. But butter, even though, like you said, it has these positive qualities to it, it's still an animal fat, and it is more likely if taken in large amounts. But do you say what I normally say, that there should be a little red flag on both margarine and butter, and therefore we should we should limit it at least to an extent?
I'm going to red flag the margarine and yellow flag the butter. Can we just control the portion?
Okay.
Have some of the butter and just throw the margarine out and stop buying it.
Do you do that?
I do. This
Honestly,
morning.
all butter.
This morning, eggs,
Yeah.
whole wheat English muffin, and a little pat of butter on each side of my English muffin.
Got it.
They're-
Okay.
Really, you can, and I have great cholesterol numbers, and I just don't understand why we have this fear of things. Stop putting things in the no box and put them in the sometimes box. And sometimes doesn't mean forget that you had it yesterday. It means don't have it every day. Have it once in a while, once a week, twice a week.
Right.
Don't put it on your baked potato that you're going to have since you're not going to fry your fries up.
Yeah.
We got to manage. How much?
No, there's no question, folks, because one of the things that's worth repeating in all subjects like this is 67% of our adult population is obese or at least overweight. Something is causing this.
It's sad, and all these diets that are magic, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing's working.
Where's the magic bullet? Darn it. How come I can't lose 4 pounds by tomorrow morning?
Ugh.
It's crazy. Okay, I think we have some stuff coming in social media. Give a question to Jennifer.
We have a question from the Twitter handler BoobyMiles32, and he asked, are all high sugar foods on this list?
No, I don't think so. Some naturally occurring sugars, things like potatoes that have naturally occurring sugars in them, but it doesn't have to be bad just because there's sugar in it.
Yeah.
Again, control how often and the quality and the quantity that you're having some of these things in. Certainly some of the high sugar things are going to be on our list, but maybe not necessarily right at the top.
But most things that are high in sugar, especially the processed foods.
The processed high sugar, yeah.
Yeah,
they're going to be high on our list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your candy bars and.
I think that's a point for Jennifer. We have an email from I Bleed Purple and Gold, clearly a Lakers fan. He asks, Jennifer, what do you say to a client who wants to regularly eat bad foods?
What is your goal around eating those foods? Do you have any goals? Too often we dive right into what are you eating? And that unfortunately kind of backfires. With a lot of my clients, I want to say, what do you want to change? What do you want out of your body? What do you want out of any kind of performance, out of your health?
Yeah.
Is it to pick up your kids in 20 years and be able to do that without any struggles? Is it to be a weekend warrior? What is the goal? And let's hone in on that goal and develop something around that without totally disregarding everything you've been doing and you enjoy.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, if they come to see you, though, there's a reason they're coming to see you. They're not stopping by to say hi. There's some issue, right? There's a blood cholesterol issue. There's a weight issue. There is a diabetic-related issue. They're seeing you for a reason. So if they're asking you about this, then at some point you need to be blunt and say, listen, this needs to not necessarily be cut up completely, as you've been saying, but it needs to be cut down.
Well, and let's, to the listeners out there that want to make a change, kind of know in their head what it is that they want to do, but they're not at that place to say, I need to make a change and this is what I'm going to do, or I'm going to go see a dietitian, or, just starting to think about, and most people know some of the things they can change. They know one thing that they can take away. They're sitting in the line at McDonald's for the 7th time this week. They know that's a problem, right? And we say these things and we laugh, but they know what they are. They know what the problem is. So take control over one thing, affect one thing, and then get excited about how that's impacting your level of energy, your performance,
your overall
health in
habits.
general.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
and then maybe they get to a point where they say, you know what, I need a little bit of help to guide me in the right direction in a little bit more extreme way.
Okay. Let's go back to our list. Go ahead and name something else. Try your best to go ahead of me in point value. Right
I'm going to say microwave popcorn.
I have that on my list too. Why?
The darn bag has so many issues with it all on its own.
When I eat microwave popcorn, I usually don't eat the egg. Bag. If I'm really hungry, I'll eat the bag. But why is the bag a problem?
The chemicals that are in the bag to literally heat it up are actually causing problems.
Okay, what do you mean?
They disrupt endocrine function, sex hormones. They actually impact how these hormones are being released. So we see problems around infertility, around thyroid disease, around tumors, immune system suppression, so I get sick faster. So all these kinds of things can be a problem. And you know what? Honestly, I remember my dad making a bag in the microwave, hit the popcorn button on the microwave every night growing up. We didn't know back in the day, right? Yeah. Now we know. So we have a popcorn machine at our house now. You can get them pretty inexpensively and get kernels, throw them in there.
Yep.
So it can be done, but the microwave bag popcorn, let's try to avoid.
When did you first hear about this, by the way?
I think it's been out I've heard of it 2 or 3 years ago, but I think in the public eye, it's probably been out there for about a year now.
I was going to say that because I heard about this for the first time in the last 12 months, but it's getting a lot of press. And that's one of the reasons I put it on the list is I thought, yeah, people need to know about this. Yeah, this is a pretty typical thing of our society. If you were to put it in the popper or do what I do, believe it or not, when we make popcorn, I put it in a pan.
Right in the pan.
Yeah, but that takes 5 minutes.
Yeah, it does. It takes time.
And how much for a microwave? I want to say...
What, 2.5?
If that?
Yeah.
Maybe even a minute? Holy smokes.
Yeah, but by the time you open the bag, you got to wait because that steam's going to come out and burn you, right? So you got to wait a second.
Yeah, that's right. So ultimately it does take 5 minutes. But there's a lot of work there. You could be doing a lot of other stuff, right?
Well, and let's be realistic, though. John,
Yes.
2.5 minutes compared to 5.
No,
and if you have some kids...
I know, of course.
If you have kids, how much fun to sit there and watch the kernels pop open. Because if you're somebody without kids, if you're a general person without kids in the house sitting around, you have a couple extra minutes, maybe.
No, of course. You're speaking to the choir on that one, for sure. Okay, so Jennifer, just to wrap up this show, we always do what's called the takeaway. We talked about a few things. We talked about things to avoid was our topic of conversation today. We said soda, sodas that are artificially sweetened and other artificially sweetened products. We talked about hot dogs and other processed meats. We talked about French fries. We talked about microwave popcorn. What's the takeaway message, though, regarding bad foods, Jennifer? What's the first thing you would say?
There definitely are things that we want to avoid. Some of them at all costs. But that doesn't mean that you can't still enjoy the opportunity to have something similar to that in its place. I think too often people come into me and think that we're going to be food police, right?
Yeah.
Take things away. I'd rather say, well, if we're going to stay away from this, let's have this. So sure, there's things that we have to avoid. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy your food and be social.
And the other thing is good substitutions can be made. Because what you're saying is, on a piece of toast, on an English muffin, for instance, it's okay to put some type of spread on it, but what your suggestion was, go to the natural butter. It has a couple ingredients. It does have saturated fat for sure, but in moderation, it's fine. We just want to avoid the plastic-like product of margarine.
Yeah.
By the way, I wanted to mention that. One of my students said in class when I was talking about nutrition this past semester, in the spring actually, they said, from what I understand, remember this is an 8-year-old talking, but they said, from what I understand, the properties of margarine are only a few degrees off of a plastic.
That
makes sense to me.
I started doing a little bit more research to remind myself on it, and that is what I was reading, was literally there are a few chemical changes that would put it right there.
That's not good. So here's what we'll do. We'll come back again in a couple weeks, and then we'll continue this conversation, maybe go back and forth between the good and the bad foods. But as always, I think I'm in the slight lead here, but that's okay. Jennifer, she's only down. She's only down two to nothing.
Check
so
that score.
She can figure that out. All right, folks. We want to thank you for joining us on the Fitness Doctor. I'm Dr. John Acquaviva, and remember, you don't stop playing because you get old. You get old because you stop playing. Join us next time here on ESPN 730, The Fitness Doctor.
Planning your next step in life? Come complete your education in a dynamic, caring environment at Wingate University. Enrollment and construction have skyrocketed in the past 2 decades as students pursue challenging and rewarding degrees in fields like the health sciences, business, and education. U.S. News & World Report has named Wingate University the 6th best value in the South. Visit one of our 3 great campuses, Wingate, North Carolina, Hendersonville, or Charlotte, or check us out at wingate.edu. Major in a great life at Wingate University.